Textile Fiber Assignment. Topic: Wool by Stephen and Emmanuel. Is wool a natural or synthetic fiber, and what is the source of the fiber? Wool is an entirely natural fiber since it primarily comes from sheep fur. Wool can also be harvested from goats, rabbits, llamas, alpacas, bisons, and yaks. Wool is 100% natural fiber. A fabric is considered natural when the fiber is extracted from plants or animals. All fabrics can be characterized as either natural or synthetic fibers, or a blend of both. Natural fibers come from plants and animals, while synthetic fibers are made from chemical compounds. History and evidence of wool usage. About 10,000 years ago, the story of wool begins in Asia Minor during the Stone Age. The warmth of wool clothing and the mobility of ships allowed mankind to spread civilization far beyond the warm climate of Mesopotamia. Primitive men living in the Mesopotamian plains used sheep for the three basic needs: food, clothing, and shelter. Later, man learned to spin and weave. Between 3000 and 1000 BC, the Persians, Greeks, and Romans distributed sheep and wool throughout Europe as they continued to improve the sheep breeds. The earliest evidence of usage of wool fabrics is the practice of a horizontal loom in the ancient Egypt, dated to 4400 BC. The loom was equipped with foot pedals to lift the wrapped thread, leaving the weaver's hand free to pass and beat the thread. Here's an image of how the horizontal loom looked like. The process of turning sheep fur into wool. Here's a quick video for you to watch.
We saw sheep being sheared last summer. The bales of wool are now being delivered to the wool marketing board. Here the wool will be graded and sold. Look out! The bales of wool are first unloaded. The bales are then weighed so the farmer can be paid for the weight he has delivered. The wool at this stage is called greasy wool. It is full of the natural grease sheep produce to make the fleece waterproof, plus lots of contamination, such as dirt, dead skin, sweat residue, pesticide. The fleeces are first sorted and graded. The wool graders are expert at this, having trained for 5 years. We could give them a fleece and they would be able to tell us what breed of sheep it was from and what the wool would be best used for. This is important as different breeds of sheep produce different types and quality of wool, which is suitable for different uses. Once sorted, the wool is then packed into bales of graded wool. Each bale, weighing 400 kilograms, is then tested for fineness and colour. The graded wool is then sold at auction. Here is the modern high-tech auction. You must be very quiet so the buyers don't lose their concentration, get distracted and miss their bid. Being sold, the greasy wool is taken to Haworth scouring, where it undergoes its first treatments. Different grades of wool are mixed to give the right blend for the end product. The first treatment is scouring, which involves washing, rinsing and then drying the wool. It goes through 8 washes and 1,000 tons a day can be washed. This removes most of the grease and other impurities such as mud, seeds or thorns, which can be picked up by sheep when out in the fields. The grease which comes out of the wool is called lanolin. It is cleaned and purified and used in face and hand cream. The scoured wool is dried. It is now clean and white but very tangled. This clean wool is sucked up by this giant vacuum cleaner and packed into bales ready for the next process. The tangled wool is then passed through a carding machine, which is a series of rotating rollers covered with pointed wire or teeth. Breaks the tufts of wool into individual fibres and removes odd pieces of hay and straw which may remain. If the wool is going to be used for making woolen items such as jumpers and other clothes, or for carpet, then it will be spun. If the wool is going to be used for cloth, then it is combed. The clean, untangled wool is combed by running it through a series of teeth, removing short fibres and drawing out long ones to align them in one direction. With the long fibres lying in parallel, a continuous rope or sliver of wool is produced, called a top. Here's the difference before combing and after combing. The top is wound into a ball or bump, ready for spinning. Each bump weighs 22 kilograms. 20 bumps are packed into a bale. So how much does one of these bales weigh? The combed wool is now ready for spinning into worsted yarn, which is used to make cloth. It is very noisy in these factories. Have you noticed what the workers are wearing in their ears? Why is that, do you think? Here are some things made from wool.
How does wool production affect the environment? Since sheep are used for shearing, it takes a lot of sheep to make a lot of wool. So there's a lot of land needed for the sheep to live on to produce the wool. So land is the main impact it has on the environment. They be taking over every square meter. World War III gonna start soon. Before I tell you guys about how wool is sustainable or not, we have to refresh our memories on what sustainability means. Sustainability means meeting our own needs without compromising the ability of future generation to meet our own needs. So now you guys know what that means. So yeah, I'm gonna get back to the wool thing. Wool is sustainable because of many reasons, like how there is a lot of sheep roaming around, which means wool is natural, so you don't have to mass produce it using tons of resources like some synthetic fibers. And when the wool gets old, it can biodegrade and turn into fertilizer for the earth, so it leaves no pollution. Wool is naturally stain and odor resistant, so it means it can be good for a long time for washing. But if you do decide to clean it, here is how you take care of the wool. If you have something that's made out of wool and is dirty, then you can hand wash it by turning the wool object inside out, then submerging it into some liquidy warm water that has detergent in it. Let it soak for a few minutes, then rinse it with cold water. Your wool should be very clean after this. If you're lazy, you can just wash it normally with a washing machine. Just set the setting to delicate and cold water. If your wool is knitted, then you can dry it by flat drying, so just put your wool object on a rack so it doesn't lose shape. If your wool is woven, then you can just hang it somewhere because it is more durable. To store your precious wool objects, just fold them and then put them in a cool place. If you're afraid that something might grow in your wool, then you can just vacuum seal it and in a bag like some A5 Wagyu beef. How to iron your wool. Set your wool on the ironing bed, then put the iron on top of the wool. Change the setting to medium and pour some small amounts of water in the wool. Proceed to rub the wool gently with your iron, and then if you want to steam it, then go ahead. After you're done, let your wool sit for like 5 minutes so it cools down, and that will get rid of the creases in it. If you guys didn't know, wool is the best textile out there.
Noah! Larry, what the hell are you doing?
Larry!
Larry, you can't just... Oh,
Larry! Oh, are you alright? How did...
Larry!
So if you have anything that's made out of wool, then you're a very lucky person. Wool is mainly used for clothing like sweaters, gloves, pants, and many more because it has good elasticity and durability. If you spill something on your wool, then it's completely fine because it's water resistant. It is good for both hot and cold weather as it can absorb your body moisture when you're cold, and that acts as a layer to reflect your body heat and to keep you warm or to soak up your sweat when you're cold. Other than clothing, wool still has daily uses like insulating your house because of its small fibers that can trap air. Blankets are also made out of wool because if it can insulate a whole house, then it can keep you warm when you sleep as well. If you have a carpet, then guess what? Chances are it's made of wool because wool is just that good. Thank you for listening to our presentation and have a very long and wonderful break, guys. Peace out.